A scream tore across the comms, sharp and raw, as if the void itself had found a voice. Captain Elias said, "Stay with me. I need your vitals now." The transmission crackled, then silence pressed in like iron. Dr. Lillian said, "I can't stabilize the feed. His oxygen is collapsing." Static filled the cabin, jagged and merciless, as Commander Reeves shouted, "Cut the channel! Focus on containment!" The monitors flickered, casting pale light on sweat-streaked faces. Engineer Carter said, "That wasn't a malfunction. It was interference." The word hung, trembling, before systems stuttered and lights dimmed. A whisper bled through the static, not human, low and unyielding, before vanishing into vacuum. The crew froze, hearing only their own breaths, heavy and uneven. Captain Elias said, "Who else heard that?" Silence answered with more weight than sound ever could. The comms pulsed again, a single broken syllable, then all went black, as if space itself demanded obedience. The silence after the blackout felt heavier than sound itself. Captain Elias said, "Status. Report now." No one answered, only the metallic groan of cooling panels. Dr. Lillian said, "Systems are dead. I think we lost life support cycling." Sweat rolled down her temple. Engineer Carter said, "It's not power failure. It's something else, something blocking us." His words cracked like glass. Commander Reeves said, "Shut your mouth and keep calm." Fear shimmered across their faces, sharp and raw. The static returned, faint as breath, like whispers crawling inside helmets. Captain Elias pressed his fist against the console, eyes wide. He said, "We're not alone in this signal." The oxygen counter ticked lower, digits bleeding red. Dr. Lillian said, "We've got under 30 minutes before suffocation." Her voice cracked but stayed steady. Engineer Carter slammed a panel, sparks lighting his face. He said, "The interference is intentional. Someone is doing this." Commander Reeves snapped back, "Stop guessing and find solutions." His voice was iron, but his hands trembled. Captain Elias lowered his gaze, voice heavy. He said, "We all heard the whisper. Don't deny it." The silence afterward cut sharper than any blade. The cockpit shook gently as though something outside brushed against the hull. Commander Reeves said, "Report. External contact." The instruments stayed blank. Dr. Lillian said, "No debris, nothing on sensors." Engineer Carter whispered, "It's watching us." The words spread cold through the cabin. Captain Elias closed his eyes, remembering the fractured scream. He said, "We're not drifting, we're being held." Their breaths synchronized in fear, the ship now a coffin of secrets. The static returned, shaping syllables like broken teeth. Dr. Lillian said, "It's forming words." Her whisper quivered. Engineer Carter said, "Not interference, it's communication." His hands shook violently. Commander Reeves said, "Enough, we don't answer shadows." His tone hollow. Captain Elias stared at the sealed compartment beneath the console. He said, "The black box. It's transmitting." Their eyes locked on it, realization sinking like lead. Fear wasn't outside anymore, it was sitting with them. Captain Elias sat in the dark cabin, the glow of failing systems barely outlining his face. He thought of the promise he had made before launch. Elias said, "I swore I'd come back. I swore I'd make it right." His voice cracked under weight, heavier than gravity. Dr. Lillian placed a hand on his shoulder, eyes soft despite the panic. She said, "No one could carry that promise alone." But her words couldn't ease the storm inside him. The silence stretched, thick with guilt. Engineer Carter muttered, "He's not thinking straight, and we're running out of time." Reeves snapped, "He's the captain, and he'll think straight when we need him to." The tension made the air feel thinner than it already was. Elias whispered, "I can't lose them again," though none asked who he meant. The black box hummed faintly in the corner, as if mocking his vow. Engineer Carter worked beneath sparking panels, his frustration spilling like fuel. Carter said, "I can't fix ghosts, damn it. I need circuits, not whispers." He banged tools against the frame, sparks raining. Dr. Lillian crouched nearby, offering calm but fraying at edges. She said, "Keep your hands steady, Carter. We need you functional." His jaw clenched as he muttered, "You think steady hands stop dying systems?" The bitterness cut. Reeves leaned against the wall, his shadow long. He said, "You're an engineer, not a philosopher. Fix it." Elias watched in silence, the guilt tightening around his throat. He whispered, "He's breaking because we all are." Carter froze, tools clattering, his mask slipping. He said, "I don't want to die in silence." The words rang louder than any alarm. The transmission crackled alive, a recorded message from Earth piercing the suffocating silence. A young boy's voice, trembling yet bright, filled the cabin. He said, "Dad, I'll be watching the stars every night until you come home." Elias stiffened, breath caught. Dr. Lillian lowered her gaze, unable to intrude on the wound spilling open. Carter whispered, "That your kid?" Elias didn't answer, his knuckles white on the console. Reeves broke the silence, sharp as a blade. He said, "We can't afford distractions now." Elias whispered back, "He's not a distraction. He's the only reason I left." The crew exchanged glances, the human anchor exposed. The recording ended in static, the boy's voice swallowed by void. The cabin felt emptier, but the weight of Earth pressed heavier than ever. The agency's voice cut through, sterile and cold. The transmission declared, "Crew of Atlas, your survival is secondary to the data integrity. Proceed with mission protocol." Reeves clenched his jaw, fists tightening at his sides. He said, "They don't care if we breathe." Dr. Lillian's voice shook. "They see us as expendable." Carter laughed bitterly. "So we're cargo with lungs, nothing more." Elias stared at the black box, the source of their torment. He whispered, "They knew. They sent us into this." The words hung like a death sentence. The crew realized their masters weren't saviors but executioners of silence. Reeves said, "Orders don't matter anymore. We live on our terms." For the first time, unity sparked against the cold machinery of Earth. The hum of the black box deepened, vibrating through the floor, unsettling their bones. Dr. Lillian whispered, "It's changing frequency." Her words trembled. Carter pressed his ear close, reckless desperation burning. He said, "It's almost speaking." Reeves pulled him back, snapping, "Don't feed the madness." Elias raised a hand, torn between command and obsession. He said, "What if it's not madness? What if it's a message?" The cabin seemed to breathe with them, air thick as liquid. The lights dimmed, shadows shifting unnaturally across steel walls. Reeves muttered, "We'll tear each other apart before it even kills us." The black box pulsed once, like a heartbeat, making them all flinch. For a moment, it felt less like a machine, and more like something alive. The oxygen meters stuttered, digits bleeding red as the ship trembled. Engineer Carter slammed his hand against a frozen gauge. He said, "It's not feeding back. Systems are shutting themselves down." Sparks hissed from the ceiling. Dr. Lillian leaned closer, her voice sharp. She said, "It's deliberate. Something's overriding." Commander Reeves barked, "Override is impossible. This is sabotage." Silence fell like a blow, accusation crackling in the air. Elias said, "Stop pointing fingers. Focus on staying alive." Yet his gaze drifted toward Carter, suspicion flickering. The hum of the black box deepened, steady as a pulse. Elias muttered, "It's spreading through the systems." The crew's fear turned inward, trust crumbling under the weight of invisible hands strangling their ship. Carter's hands shook as he fumbled tools, his voice breaking under strain. He said, "I can't keep this ship together, not while it's eating itself alive." Lillian steadied his arm. She said, "Breathe, you're not alone in this." He pulled away, eyes wild. Carter shouted, "Don't lie to me, none of you can fix what's coming." Reeves stepped forward, his voice iron. He said, "You swore to this crew, you don't get to collapse now." Carter's jaw quivered, then he spat, I didn't sign up to die in someone else's lie. The words hung heavy, unspoken betrayal trembling beneath them. Elias whispered, "Hold your ground, Carter. Don't make me doubt you too." Carter turned away, shadows cutting deep across his face. The cockpit dimmed again, but this time shadows shifted unnaturally. Elias said, "Reeves, run diagnostics now." Reeves tapped dead panels, jaw hard. He said, "Systems are locked out from inside." Carter muttered, "Not inside the box." The hum grew louder, and whispers threaded through static, low and deliberate. Dr. Lillian covered her ears, her voice cracking. She said, "It's shaping words again." Reeves snarled, "Don't listen, it's manipulation." Elias leaned forward, the faint syllables twisting into something almost human. He whispered, "Then why does it sound like us?" The words froze the crew, terror folding in as realization clawed closer. Something in the black box was speaking back, and it was using their voices. The agency's channel broke through with distorted clarity. A cold voice declared, "Do not interfere with the data stream. Any attempt will terminate mission priority." Reeves slammed a fist against the wall. He said, "They're letting us choke while they watch." Lillian's eyes widened, horror dawning. She said, "They knew this would happen. They sent us to feed it." Carter staggered back, whispering, "We're not a mission, we're fuel." Elias stared at the box, the truth cutting deeper than any wound. He whispered, "They lied to all of us." Reeves growled, "Then we stop following their orders. We survive our way." Yet, the voice in the box murmured again, hollow and mocking, as if laughing at their defiance. The void outside shifted, stars bending unnaturally, as if space itself bent to a will. Lillian gasped, "The anomaly, it's surrounding us." The hull groaned, metal trembling like bone under pressure. Carter shouted, "We're caught, there's no escape trajectory." Reeves steadied himself, his voice iron. He said, "Then we make one, or we burn." Elias gripped the console, eyes wide, haunted by more than physics. He whispered, "It's not trapping us, it's showing us." The black box pulsed, syncing with the rhythm of the bending stars. Whispers grew into a chorus, dozens of voices speaking at once, their own echoes among them. The crew stared in horror as the universe itself began to answer. The hum of the black box grew into a roar, its surface splitting with jagged red light. Captain Elias said, "Open it, we can't keep guessing." Reeves barked, "You'll kill us all if you touch it." Carter snapped, "We're already dying." Lillian trembled, her voice breaking. She said, "If it holds answers, we need them." Elias knelt, his hand hovering over the seal, sweat glistening. He whispered, "This box isn't recording, it's alive." The crew recoiled, silence crashing down. He tore the seal, light spilling into the cabin, filling every shadow with alien radiance. The whispers sharpened into words, each one echoing with their own voices. The box was not a container of truth, it was a doorway. The light grew, shimmering like liquid fire, twisting their reflections across the cockpit glass. Carter gasped, "It's showing something, it's us." The glow split into countless mirrored fragments, each revealing the crew at different times, ages, and choices. Lillian whispered, "It's rewriting us." Reeves' voice thundered, "Don't look, shut it now." But Elias couldn't turn away, the fragments pulling him closer. He said, "It's not just a recorder. It's memory of everything we are." Carter pressed his face nearer, voice unsteady. He said, "Or everything we could be." The black box flickered, displaying endless versions of their failures, their betrayals, their deaths. The truth was not stored, it was multiplied. Reeves lunged forward, shoving Carter away from the light. He roared, "You've been feeding it, you knew all along." Carter stumbled, his mask finally shattering. He said, "I wasn't supposed to tell. I was planted here to ensure it was opened." The words detonated like explosives in the silence. Lillian's voice cracked. She said, "You're the reason it's inside our systems." Carter shouted, I didn't want this. I had no choice. They own me. Elias stared, betrayal burning through his chest. He whispered, "You doomed us for their orders." Carter dropped to his knees, tears streaking his sweat-stained face. He said, "I thought it was just a machine." But the box whispers mocked, proving it was far more. The agency's channel cut in, colder than ice. A sterile voice declared, "Subject Carter has fulfilled his directive. Continue exposure until full synchronization." Elias trembled with rage. He said, "You used us as test subjects." Reeves shouted, "Shut them down. We don't take orders anymore." Lillian cried, "They're merging us with it. That's the mission." Carter wept, whispering, "I was never going home." The voice repeated, "Completion ensures legacy. Sacrifice ensures progress." Elias slammed his fist against the console, blood smearing controls. He said, "You'll get nothing from us. We're not your fuel." The black box pulsed violently, feeding on their fury. It was no longer theirs to resist. It was theirs to become. The cockpit became a cage of light and shadow, the black box throbbing like a heart. The walls shook, alarms dead, yet the whispers were deafening. Lillian screamed, "It's rewriting us, cell by cell." Reeves grabbed Elias's arm. He said, "We end it now or we never leave." Carter wailed, "It's too late. It's inside already." Elias felt the pull of the box, like gravity clawing at his bones. He whispered, "Then we destroy it, even if it destroys us." Silence fell, thick as death, as the crew locked eyes, bound by one desperate truth. They could no longer fight for mission or orders. They were fighting for their humanity, and it was slipping away. The air shook with a metallic hum, like the ship was breathing with the black box. Reeves lunged forward, seizing Carter by the collar. He shouted, "You sold us to this thing." Carter struggled, eyes brimming with terror. He cried, "I didn't know it would become this." Elias forced himself between them, pushing them apart. He said, "Fighting each other is exactly what it wants." The whispers grew louder, threading through their voices like an echo of hatred. Lillian screamed, "Stop it, you're feeding it with rage." Reeves' jaw locked, veins tense. He said, "Then we end the traitor before it feeds more." Carter dropped to his knees, sobbing, "I never wanted this mission." Elias' voice cut through, heavy and final. He said, "If anyone dies tonight, it will be on my command, not the box." The oxygen alarms blared, a shrill cry of death closing in. Lillian shouted over the noise, "We have minutes before collapse." Carter's hands trembled as he tried to stabilize controls. He said, "I can't, it's overriding faster than I patch it." Sparks sprayed, burning across his cheek. Reeves' voice thundered, then cut power completely. Elias' eyes widened. He said, "We kill the ship, we kill ourselves." Lillian snapped without air, "We're already dead." Carter slammed the console, blood mixing with sweat. He said, "If I cut power, maybe we starve the box too." Elias clenched his fists, his voice breaking. He said, "Do it. Better us deciding our fate than it." The alarms wailed louder, drowning out their last breaths of calm. The lights cut to black, then surged with a new, alien glow. The black box pulsed like a heart, syncing with the beating of their chests. Lillian gasped, "It's alive, it's inside us now." Reeves grabbed his head, veins bulging as whispers grew louder. He roared, "Get out of me!" Carter collapsed, clawing at his ears, screaming, "It's using my voice." Elias staggered, hearing his own words repeated back, twisted and hollow. He said, "It's feeding on our fear, using us as mirrors." The walls shuddered, stars outside bending in waves of red light. Lillian cried, "We're becoming part of it." Elias slammed his fist on the console, pain exploding through him. He said, "Not while I still breathe." The cockpit felt more like a tomb than a ship. The hull groaned, as if space itself demanded surrender. Reeves pulled Elias close, his voice harsh. He said, "We have one chance, destroy it now." Elias' hands shook, torn by fear and duty. Carter gasped from the floor. He said, "If you blow it, it takes us too." Lillian whispered, "We'll die either way. Better free than consume." Elias looked at each of them, the weight crushing his chest. He whispered, "This is my burden." Reeves pressed a blade into his hand, his voice firm. He said, "Then carry it, Captain." The box pulsed, whispers rising like screams, the glow staining their faces. Elias stepped forward, his shadow long against the walls, ready to strike. For a heartbeat, humanity balanced on the edge of his trembling hand. The box split open, spilling light that devoured the cockpit. Elias screamed, slamming the blade deep into its core. The whispers erupted into shrieks, voices twisting into chaos. Reeves roared, "Finish it!" Sparks exploded, panels burning away. Carter sobbed, "We're burning with it." Lillian's scream pierced through the light, her body shaking under the force. Elias shouted, "We're not fuel, we're fire." The box convulsed, glow surging like a dying star. The cockpit shook, stars outside warping into endless spirals. For one blinding moment, it seemed the universe itself cracked under their defiance. Elias clenched his jaw, breath raw. He whispered, "If this is the end, let it be ours." The light consumed everything, leaving only silence. The cockpit was drowned in silence after the blast, the hum of the black box finally gone. The air tasted scorched, every breath sharp like knives. Elias whispered, "Is it over?" His voice cracked, echoing in the hollow chamber. Reeves leaned against the wall, his chest heaving. He said, "We're alive, but barely." Sparks fizzled from broken panels, faint as dying stars. Carter slumped in a corner, his eyes red. He whispered, "I didn't want it to end like this." Lillian pressed trembling hands against her chest. She said, "We stopped it, but we lost everything." Elias stared at the charred remains of the box. He said, "No. It took pieces of us with it." The silence carried their grief heavier than gravity. The ship creaked, metal straining like old bones. Lillian checked the oxygen counter, her voice small. She said, "We have less than an hour left." Reeves clenched his jaw, muttering, "An hour to die in peace then." Carter groaned, burying his face in his hands. He said, "Peace? We'll never know peace again." Elias walked to the viewport, staring at warped stars bending into calm. He whispered, "They're watching still, even without the box." Lillian pressed her forehead to the console. She said, "We stopped their weapon, but Earth will never hear about it." Reeves barked, "Then we leave our truth here, in blood and silence." Elias closed his eyes, guilt anchoring him. He said, "The truth always finds a way to echo." A crackle broke the silence, an old recording, faint and ghostly. A child's voice said, "Dad, I'll be watching the stars until you come home." Elias froze, his chest tightening, eyes wet. Lillian whispered, "Your son's message survived." Carter lifted his head, eyes glassy. He said, "Even the void can't erase love." Reeves turned away, fists trembling. He said, "Stop clinging to ghosts." Elias placed a hand on the console, whispering, "He deserves to know I fought." The message faded into static, leaving silence sharp as glass. Lillian's voice cracked. She said, "That was his goodbye." Elias shut his eyes. He said, "No, it's my promise, even if I never return." The cabin felt smaller, filled with absence heavier than presence. The agency's signal returned, cold and merciless. A voice declared, "Atlas crew, your service ensured legacy. Your sacrifice is complete." Reeves slammed a fist into the wall, shouting, "We're not your martyrs." Carter whispered, "They'll erase us as if we never existed." Lillian's voice shook. She said, "We're already erased. Their silence will bury us deeper than space ever could." Elias raised his head, his voice steady. He said, "No. We choose how we're remembered." He staggered toward the comms, blood on his hands, determination burning through exhaustion. Reeves said, "If you send the truth, they'll kill your family." Elias whispered, "They already killed me the day I left." He pressed the button, his voice ready to echo into eternity. The transmission flickered alive. Elias, a voice breaking through static. He said, "This is Atlas. We destroyed what should never have been opened. If this reaches you, know we gave everything, so it ends with us." Lillian closed her eyes, whispering prayers. Carter covered his face, sobbing, "We'll never see Earth again." Reeves stood tall, voice like steel. He said, "Better to die free than live as their puppets." The cabin trembled, lights failing one by one. Elias whispered, "We are echoes now, drifting across stars." The final words carried not fear, but defiance. The crew sat in silence, waiting for the inevitable. Outside, the void swallowed their voices, but the truth was already written in fire. The transmission flickered faintly. Elias, a voice pushing against static like a dying flame. He whispered, "This is Captain Elias of Atlas. If you hear me, remember us." His throat burned, but his words carried raw defiance. Lillian leaned forward, whispering prayers under her breath, her voice trembling with every syllable. Carter lifted his head slowly, his eyes wet. He said, "We're drifting, but maybe someone will find us." Reeves stood tall, his shadow cutting across the dying cockpit. He said, "They want to race us, not if the stars remember." The hum of systems fading into silence made every word echo louder. The black box remains pulsed faintly, one last time before turning cold. The ship drifted through warped starlight, the void vast and silent. Elias whispered, "Every scar we carry, it ends here." Lillian touched her chest, her lips moving faintly. She said, "If this is the end, let it be remembered." Carter laughed bitterly through tears. He said, "We tried to fight gods with broken tools." Reeves' voice cut steady through despair. He said, "We fought with what we had, our humanity." Outside the viewport, stars bent and flickered, as if listening. Elias closed his eyes, his body trembling. He whispered, "We're dust, but dust can still shine." The silence that followed was not empty, it was eternal. The hull groaned, sharp and tired, as oxygen thinned. Carter coughed, his voice cracking. He said, "I thought I'd die with shame, but I'll die with you instead." Lillian touched his arm softly, whispering, "No one dies alone." Reeves leaned close to Elias, his voice low but steady. He said, "You carried us further than anyone could." Elias turned, his face worn yet fierce. He said, "I didn't save us, Reeves. I just gave us a chance to choose." The stars beyond flickered like candles, their light bending into the cockpit. The truth weighed heavy but proud. Death was coming, but it was theirs to face together. The stars beyond stretched, endless, as if the void itself leaned closer to listen. Elias whispered, "Every breath we take is our final transmission." Lillian looked at the ceiling, her eyes glistening. She said, "Let the stars carry us home." Carter closed his eyes, whispering, "I hope someone finds this wreck, if only to know we fought." Reeves' shadow stretched across the dying lights. He said, "No matter what Earth hides, they can't erase the truth of what we became." Silence thickened, the hum of the ship fading until it was gone. Elias whispered one final word, "Remember," and his voice lingered, soft as an echo across eternity. The final light inside the cockpit flickered and died, leaving only the glow of warped stars. Elias' last words drifted across the comms, fractured but resolute. He whispered, "We are Atlas. We remain." The transmission carried into silence, endlessly repeating into the void. Lillian's eyes closed softly, her lips still moving in prayer. Carter exhaled his last breath, shaking, a faint smile ghosting his lips. Reeves stood tall until the end, his shadow unbroken even as darkness consumed him. The ship drifted into eternity, their voices gone, their story reduced to fragments of static. Yet in that silence, something lingered, a memory, an echo, a truth the universe would never let fade.